Mali and Niger's military governments have declared plans to terminate decades-long tax treaties with France within the next 3 months. The two countries' ruling juntas said in a joint statement that they were terminating the tax treaties due to France's persistent hostile attitude towards their countries and the unbalanced nature of these agreements, which result in a significant loss of revenue for Mali and Niger. Mali has had a tax arrangement with France since 1972, while Niger has had a similar deal with the European country since 1965. The agreements were made to prevent Malian and Nigerian nationals living in France from paying taxes in both countries. They also prohibited French nationals from paying twice in the two African countries. The tax treaties aim to enhance collaboration in other financial areas as well. The move follows a similar decision made earlier this year by Burkina Faso's military government. It is also the latest in a string of steps by the three countries' military regimes to sever ties with France since taking power in recent coups. Indeed, all three nations have taken notable steps to distance themselves from former colonial ruler France, which had previously been a close partner in security and other areas. The current military juntas in Mali and Niger have been on an aggressive campaign to establish complete self-governance by removing Western influence from their respective countries, and this latest action aligns with said objective. They recently floated the notion of creating a federation with Burkina Faso, and according to a December 2nd, 2023 report, the foreign ministers of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger discussed the formation of a confederation in order to realize their goal of integrating West African countries into a federation. A month before, the three countries' economic and finance ministers met and recommended the establishment of a stabilization fund, an investment bank, and a panel to explore economic and monetary union. Mali and Niger's joint bid to terminate disadvantageous tax agreements with France will certainly be music to the ears of all Pan-African observers who have repeatedly questioned why former French colonies still have to pay taxes to France. It would interest you to know that France receives a colonial tax amounting to roughly $500 billion from 14 former colonies in Africa, including Benin, Burkina Faso, Côte d'Ivoire, Guinea, Mali, Niger, Senegal, Togo, Cameroon, Central African Republic, Chad, Congo, Equatorial Guinea, and Gabon. These countries have a combined population of 174 million people and a nominal total GDP of $196 billion, with a PPP GDP of $411 billion. Although France has ended its colonial strategy, its economic colonialism of several African governments continues. Under various names and classifications, a portion of the colony's budget continues to come to the French central bank. This procedure permits France to seize approximately 85% of the former colony's annual income. As a result, African countries face financial difficulties and are compelled to borrow back their own money from the French central bank as debts. Additionally, African countries are allowed to apply for no more than 20% of the transferred sum to retrieve their payments. They can only receive more than this if it is vetoed. France claims the money it takes from its former colonies is for cash spent on buildings and infrastructure built more than a century ago, and any refusal by an African leader to pay the colonial tax almost always results in a coup. Mali and Niger's decisive move to terminate decades-long tax treaties with France marks a significant step towards ending the economic exploitation that former French colonies have endured for too long. The decision, driven by France's persistent hostile attitude and the unbalanced nature of the agreements, highlights a growing determination by African nations to break free from historical ties that have disproportionately favored Paris and other Western entities. The tax treaties, which have been in place since the 1960s and 1970s, have allowed France to siphon off vast sums, amounting to approximately $500 billion from 14 African countries annually. This move by Mali and Niger aligns with their broader campaign to assert complete self-governance and distance themselves from Western influence. It is time for all former French colonies to emulate Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, cease these exploitative tax agreements, and redirect their resources towards their own economic development, putting an end to decades of unjust enrichment for France. What do you make of Mali and Niger ceasing their exploitative tax agreements with France? Let us know what you think in the comments section below, and as always, do subscribe to the New Africa channel for more informative future videos.